Hello and happy Metta Monday. This is a short video created to support you in connecting with the best of yourself using anything available to me, including science, neuroscience, spirituality, psychology, and more, and including cartoons. So today I wanted to start with this great metaphor that I saw in the form of a cartoon a few weeks ago. It was a Russian nesting doll. It was a cartoon of a Russian nesting doll laying down on like a therapist's couch. And the therapist had a caption, and the caption was, tell me about your inner child's inner child's inner child's inner child's inner child, right? Because the Russian nesting doll has all of these layers of other dolls with other dolls within them, and we're kind of put together the same way. The funniest stuff is the stuff that has truth in it, and that cartoon was so funny because of the truth of the fact that we heal in layers. And as I write the healing chapter for my book Faith Underwater, I wrote about a healing map. And I think everybody wants a map for the healing process. How do I get from A to B? How do I get from, feeling out of sorts and unwell to whole and happy? And, they want a map and a timeline. And, the truth of it all is that there's no such timeline. Everybody's got their own process. And also it's not linear. It's, outside in, inside out, and everything in between. But I wanted to talk about the components of the process of healing as I understand it through my own experience and through the studies that I've done over the years. And, really the healing map is kind of like a bullseye, the center with the rings around it, right? And at the very center of that bullseye is our most authentic self. This is the self that is just wanting and waiting to be expressed. This was the part of us that was the most online when we were born, and then kind of got covered up by layers of wounding and conditioning. And so really, I had this beautiful yoga teacher that many of you know, Erin Coonan, who brought so much wisdom in this really beautiful, simple way. And she said, that the process of yoga is about, peeling away the layers between our authentic self and, our highest self. And so we're just shining. She was calling it like shining the gem, the diamond. We're just polishing it off with that practice of yoga. And similarly, the healing process is just an uncovering back to, a peeling back to the authentic self that is just waiting and wanting to be expressed through, being in our highest and most right vocation, being in our healthiest and happiest relationships with others, with ourself, with our spirit. And the layers, as I see them, are, that most tender, authentic self connected to spirit. And then right outside, right next to that, this is the rub, is our wounding. This is our, our maybe trauma, or the little dings I've been talking about that form core beliefs. And so the core beliefs are the next layer. And these aren't just, conscious thoughts. These are deeply bodily held truths, things that we think are true. Some of them might be true, like we deserve happiness. Some of them might not be true, like if we believe we don't deserve happiness. That is an unhelpful core belief that got formed through some experience. That was our attempt to make meaning of the world, like I talked about last week in that process of conditioning. And, the next layer out is, I've been sort of hinting at this, is the body. And, the body holds the energy of any unhealed stuff is held in the body. Bessel van der Kolk's book, The Body Keeps the Score, speaks to that in his experience of his own clients with trauma. The body holds on to that, and the body holds on to these, smaller dings, anything unhealed is held into the body. And more subtly, it's held in the organs. And that might surprise you, but Chinese medicine, thousands of year old tradition has been dialed into this. If you've heard of meridians, which are lines of energy that run through the body, there are 12 associated with organs, and these are each associated with a different emotion. So, for example, the lung meridian is associated with grief. So if you've ever seen somebody get a chest cold right after having a big loss, there's no coincidence. If you know somebody with a lot of anger in their life or resentment who's had their gallbladder removed, there's, again, no coincidence. So these different organs have different emotions associated with them, which is fine unless energy gets stuck. And so, so the body, including the organs where this emotional energy is held, is, another layer of this, this healing map, this healing bullseye with you at the center. And then another layer of this is the mind. And so, this is where we, the thinking mind is kind of just the output. This includes, the things this extends to our behaviors out in the world. This extends to the thoughts we have internally on a conscious level. And, where the subconscious is kind of that connection between the body and the mind. The thinking mind is really, any issues with like repeating thoughts or depression or anything like that is just a symptom of these deeper layers of healing that need tending to. And I just noticed the time, so I want to just begin to wrap because I could keep going on this for half an hour. But I wanted to just mention that, ways to access these healing layers, include self-study of, understanding these different layers of us. When we understand that the body is involved in the healing process, we can access acupuncture, we can do yoga. Yin yoga is this incredible way into, understanding the mind, moving the body, freeing up stuck energy along the lines of energy in these meridians that affect the organs. And, maybe some old, deeply held core belief might be able to be tended to in that yin yoga process or in a therapy session. And so I definitely am an advocate for reaching out and getting other resources because we can't do all of this work ourselves. And I wanted to briefly mention that this bullseye, this healing map, is kind of like the map of the koshas, which is a yogic framework. And it goes from gross to subtle, so the body it sort of contains this whole spirit, and to get to the most wise and blissful part of us, there's the outer layer, the annamaya kosha. Next layer in is the pranamaya kosha, the breathing body and the energy body, and then manomaya kosha, the mind and the emotions. And then our wisdom, the Vijnanamaya kosha, followed by the Anandamaya kosha, our most blissful, peaceful self. So again, it's an inside out, outside in game. And the process of yoga helps us by moving the body, connecting the body to the mind with the breath. And when you do that, when you're moving in that synchrony, then you have more access to the wisdom and the peace that exists within you. And that stillness of meditation is really the point of the movement practice of yoga, is to get us to the still, peaceful self, kind of like our authentic self that lives at the center of us. So, I didn't expect this video to be a big commercial for yoga, but it is, because that's why yoga is so amazing, is because it gives us access to that inmost self, that inmost essential self that is who we are, that wants to be expressed at all times. Healing wants to happen. We want to get out. That's why if you're, in this end of year moment in your life and you're looking at the new decade and going, oh my God, this isn't right. Like if you're feeling agitated, That's just your soul crying out for change that will make you feel happier, peaceful, more embodied in your essence. So take it all as good information. If you're feeling a little bit agitated right now, study it, resource it, bring in compassion, journal, reach out. So there's so many options. I'm already at 10 minutes, so I just wanted to briefly announce that I will be starting a podcast because I know enough about everything I've been talking about to be dangerous. And it's time to call in the experts. So stay tuned. That will be coming early next year. It's called the Embody You podcast. And I am so excited. I have a long list of people on my list. I'm putting together the schedule today. And yeah, I'm excited to announce that just more educational information is coming your way with this as a platform. So thanks for listening and watching, and have a beautiful, skillful day.